Good afternoon. My name is Elizabeth Flores. In the social justice video blog, reading about it reinforced some things that I guess I already knew. I grew up with a quite limited and privileged view of the world. I grew up in an upper middle class white Protestant home, and I did not encounter truly encounter different cultures and different ideas about society until I became a juvenile probation officer and then a high school teacher. And when I read Ruby Payne's Rules of Poverty, it blew my mind. It really did. I did not understand it. When I was a juvenile probation officer, I worked with many Hispanic kids, and because I was married to a Hispanic man, they expected him to act certain ways, and when he did not, they looked down on him for that. I was actually quite surprised that they were so insistent that he behave a certain way simply because he was Hispanic. And they could not understand my way of thinking and his way of thinking, just as I could not necessarily understand theirs. So it took me spending time with these children and interacting with these children to truly begin to understand why they thought the way that they did. In 2 or 3 different articles that I read, both the one assigned and a few others, the different ways to address social justice was defined as equity, access, participation, and harmony. And equity is, of course, that everyone has the same resources, rights, and responsibilities in society. And access would be access to services and resource. Participation would be these people having the right to participate in decisions that affect their own lives. And harmony is, of course, when the individual needs are addressed, but it is positive for society as a whole. And then, of course, when society is addressing individuals. For example, a marginalized group might be a mentally handicapped person, and they might not have the same resources. They might not have access to the same resources. And so as a social justice worker, it would be my job to help them understand what those resources are, what their rights are, and how to access the things that they need. And then to ask the client, what is it exactly that you want? What is your goal? And to help him, let's say, to find employment. He deserves to have a job just like everyone else. And that can help him as well as helping society, because the more that people work and provide for themselves, the better they feel about themselves, and the less of a strain that they are on society as a whole. This could be a group that is left behind. And as a social justice counselor, it is my job to value these people and to advocate for these people and to make sure that someone in that position is not being treated less, is not being given less than they deserve, less than they have the right to. In the future, I want to recognize and address these inequities. I want to understand different cultural backgrounds and different cultural expectations much, much better. So this is something I'm certainly going to need to study. And then I've always been one to value each individual as an individual, but I don't see that that's something that anyone could ever stop working on and stop learning how to do. While each person is an individual, they are also a part of a whole. Different wholes. They're a part of a family. They're a part of a church. They're a part of a community. They're a part of a city. They're a part of a, different. It gets larger and larger, and eventually, they're a part of a country or a race. And while I know it doesn't necessarily address social justice per se, the very first verse I thought of when we were given the assignment was Galatians 3:28, which says that there is neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor master, neither male nor female, that we are all one in Christ. Now, I realize that this applies essentially to those who believe, but it also applies to people as a whole, to everyone as a whole, because we don't see people for just their race or just their gender or just their position in society. We should see them as a person who is just like us. They love, they cry, they hurt, they need, they have goals, they have desires, they have a past, they have pains. And it is our job as a counselor to address all of those issues, address the person as a whole, and to help make them as healthy as we can possibly make them.